Yo, what's going on, man? It's your boy Dane Diddy. And everybody's talking about this Fall Off album. And I had some other thoughts aside from the Fall Off J. Cole album as well. But I kind of just wanted to start with that. Because 2026 so far is like shaping out for a pretty big year for hip hop. It looks like we're going to get some really dope projects sometime this year. But the Fall Off J. Cole, right? I guess I think it would be fair to set my perspective on how I feel about J. Cole. So I started listening to J. Cole about 2008. I found out about him, the warm-up. I found the warm-up on datpiff.com. That kind of dates everything for anybody that knows. Like, he's kind of one of the blog era rappers, right? So datpiff.com, I know everybody refers to him as the big three, but at the time it was looking like a Fab Five or something like that, because the big names coming out of the mixtape circuit, you had Big Sean, you had Wale, you had J. Cole, you had Kendrick Lamar, you had Drake. Pretty much had my eye on all of them around this time. And J. Cole definitely stuck out. He had like a super aggressive flow, heavy New York inspired. It didn't sound like somebody from North Carolina per se. At the same time, I wasn't too familiar with North Carolina rappers at the time. I wasn't really on Little Brother or anything like that. I am a huge fan of J. Cole. Purchased pretty much all his projects when I was still purchasing music. I'd say that his music typically gets better over time. The more you get to listen to it, the more you get to live with it. I do recall not necessarily liking Born Sinner all that much when it came out. I think I liked like 4 or 5 records, but then I went to see J. Cole at the Fox Theater when he came here with Wale, and his performance of all the records made me fall in love with all of the records. From that moment on, I was like a big believer in the Born Sinner, and J. Cole's a great performer. That's one of his underrated attributes. But I've been seeing some really, really bad takes on the new album. I gotta say some things about things that I've been catching that I'm not hugely a fan of. I feel like to dispel a lot of the comparisons of what the album is like, I think J. Cole gave the best explanation for what the album sounds like. And I'm a rock with that. He's like, the Fall Off is like Hove dropping Reasonable Doubt last. I think that's the exact line. And I think that's actually a really, really fair comparison. I say that not because I feel like what he was saying is J. Cole is dropping his greatest album last. But the way I look at it, listening to it, it's probably his best storytelling achievement project. And when you listen to Reasonable Doubt, Jay-Z's weaving all of these stories and these drug dealing stories throughout the project. So with that comparison, I think it lines up 100%. So with that, I'll take J. Cole's assessment of his album. I don't know if this is J. Cole's last project for real. I guess time will tell. But with that out of the way, I think we should just kind of like, for the most part, go track by track. There's some things that I kind of wanted to point out about the project that I caught, that I liked, that I didn't necessarily like, things that I thought were a strong point. I mean, I think one of the easy strong points we could get out of the way right off the bat is that the storytelling on this joint is phenomenal. He does a really good job of telling the story. This one is when he comes back to Fayetteville at 29, and then the second album is him kind of like introspectively looking at it 10 years later at 39, which lines up. I mean, I think he's 41 now, so he just had a birthday, so so happy birthday, Cole. Storytelling on this joint is A1. And there's a lot of like J. Cole isms throughout the project with the tones, the hooks that they chose, the beat selection. So yeah, let's just do it. Let's go one by one, track by track. Obviously you got the intro. I mean, he starts off with this kind of really cool folk, country, jazz sample at the beginning. It looks like it's like almost like a Georgia on My Mind type record for North Carolina. Great way to set the tone. Shots ring out. 2-6. 2-6 is the name of the second song. Dope. Love the beat. Love the way he flowed into it. This is just typical J. Cole killing some shit. Safety is one of my favorite songs on the whole project. Love the beat. Love the storytelling. Love like how he just gets right into it. I love the like happy, like a positive vibe of the record. So Run a Train is where we kind of get into the first thing that I feel like I have something kind of negative to say. I feel like the rapping on this record is dope. I'm not a fan of Future, so adding Future to anything is not going to sway my opinion in it in a positive light. I will say, I think the weak part of this record is the hook. And it's just like J. Cole has a bunch of hooks where he does the hooks just like this. So that's not surprising. It's just like I'm just not a fan of the way it came out. It just sounds like low effort, especially when you just like, if you're comparing it to just J. Cole in general, right? Like you go and look at like Might Delete Later and just the effort that was put on those hooks. It just feels like it lands flat. It was kind of just lazy. But the rapping on the record is dope. Love the rapping on the record. Poor Thing, he's addressing some stuff in his neighborhood. And like, see, this is one of the things, songs that make me want to bring up one of the points of the sound is regional. And I think that's dope. I think it's great that it feels like we're venturing back into regional hip hop where everything doesn't necessarily sound the same. I saw a freestyle that somebody did. They went to J. Cole's house and freestyle, and the rap was actually pretty dope. But either way, J. Cole addressed whoever he was addressing, whether that was him, the football player that allegedly had issues with in Fayetteville. Love this record. It's dope. Beat is I can see J. Cole hearing it and immediately getting a dope vibe. Legacy is great. Legacy is great. Love the vibe, love the storytelling from this point of view, and knowing that where it went later on in the second album with Life Sentence, like this is a great setup for that. Bounce Road Blues, I'm not like hugely like high on this record. I feel like he could have took a little bit more time on some of the lines, like, you know, kind of especially like the beginning where he just talks about the you know, like, I ain't you telling everybody to go shoot at the cops, and you know what I'm talking about. It's basically the way he opens up the record, and I feel like it could have came off a little bit cleaner on there. Wasn't a fan of Future being on there using Usher sample, but that's just a pet peeve for me. I'm just not a huge Future fan whatsoever. I don't think the record is like horrible. I mean, he's got some lines in there, some dope storytelling. Like it helps weave the story together, right? Who the fuck is you? We kind of got like a little snippet of that. I feel like in one of the commercials or something that he had pre-released. But yeah, this song is dope. Drums and bass is dope. The beat is dope. Cole is he's doing his thing. This is like one of the reasons why we come to Cole, for real. The Let Out. So this was basically the record that kind of made me want to talk about this in general. I wasn't really a huge fan of this record after YouTube. Let me explain. Like, I heard the record and I was just like, yeah, that's actually pretty dope. And I went on YouTube and people were like, yo, Cole, he's doing something new, never heard this before. And like, I had to kind of like take a moment and check myself, because it's like one of those things where it's just like, those that know that this is a Bone Thugs and Harmony sound. And anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Bone Thugs and Harmony fan. And I don't know, I get really offended when people take credit for stuff Bone did. I don't know why. I just do. And it was just like, bro, this is a Bone style, Bone flow. Bone ain't on the record. Considering J. Cole does have a song with Bone that basically got scrapped, which probably should have stayed scrapped. That was on the deluxe of 2014 Forest Hill Drive. This would have been a great record to include them on. Would it have not fit? Possibly, because this was part of the story. But Bone would have made this joint sound crazy. Not saying J. Cole made it sound bad. I mean, he did the absolute best he could with this record. He made it sound pretty amazing. The production on it is amazing. Love the guitar. Everything about this record is great and perfect. It was more so me being upset that the fans didn't know that this was a Bone Thugs and Harmony thing. Because like our generation of rappers, right? If you wanted to get on a record, it sounded like the artist, you would get the artist on the record. You know what I mean? Biggie wanted to have a Notorious Thug sound. So, I mean, he wanted to rap fast, and so he went and got Bone Thugs and Harmony. Fat Joe, you know, he wanted to link with them. He got them on a record. Big Pun, you know, they got the record with Pac. Like, there's a lot of people. Mariah Carey, she wanted to learn how to do that and see if she could incorporate that into her singing. So she went and got Bone for Breakdown. It was kind of just like a thing that people did when you did something cool, because everybody was so much of an individual. They would invite you onto the record. To the fans that don't know, you should go check out some Bone Thugs and Harmony, because this is 100% a Bone Thugs and Harmony record. So for those that are out there saying that this is like the greatest record of all time and your favorite record on the album, do yourself a service and go listen to some Bone Thugs and Harmony, and you can get this sound all the time. Like, this is just kind of like what they do and what they've done for the majority of their career. So the Let Out is dope. I had to clear that up with myself, and I just wanted to let the younger J. Cole fans know, check out some Bone Thugs-n-Harmony. So we have Bombs in the Ville and Hit the Gas. It's not bad. This might be one of those that grows on me a little bit more as I continue to listen to it. And also Lonely at the Top is definitely feels like a bonus track. It's one of those tracks that I feel like it's bonus on this because it didn't necessarily have to pertain to the project. Like as far as like the conversation. You can make the argument that, nah, he was at the top at 29. I disagree with you. I think he would too. And I think that's why he put it as a bonus track. After that, we move on to the next album, which is 39. The 39 intro, man, it is so long. And it takes so long to get some bars. I mean, when you get them, they're definitely satisfying. But man, I feel like it's like 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes. It's something crazy. And I feel like they were doing a little bit too much. Like sometimes something could be overproduced. I think that was slightly the route that got taken with this. Matter of fact, back up, Who the Fuck Is You? I wanted to point out, like, for those that don't know, I feel like Cole gave a lot of praise to a lot of the older MCs that like did some dope stuff. Like he has 2 Mobb Deep like resamples on this project, which is dope. Cause Who the Fuck Is You is a song from Mobb Deep's second album, Hell on Earth. Is drop a gem on him. If you never heard it, you should go check it out. I personally feel like that beat is better, but I thought that was dope. And then we get another one on this project with the Villas. That's actually a sample of and by the way, Mobb Deep Havoc sampled, Alchemist sampled, like they did the majority of Mobb Deep's production. So it's just like resampling, but I'm giving them credit because they're the ones that originally sampled the record. The Realest from Murder Music featuring Cool G Rap. Love that song, love that beat. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, I like how they flipped it. I like the heavy keys and stuff that they added to like the coming out of the 4th bar on the Villas, and Erykah Badu added some really dope ear candy throughout the record. So let me bounce back. The fall off is inevitable. Man, this is one of those records where it's just like, it is so lyrically impressive. J. Cole was really flexing his lyrical muscle on this one. However, and also he was feeling like he was like showing ode to like Nas with Rewind, which was like super ahead of its time when it happened. However, I do feel like there's no real reason to like listen to the song after you've heard it like 2 or 3 times, even though it's super lyrically impressive. Like if you want to kind of like just study the terms and the techniques that he used, I can understand it from that point of view. But from music enjoyment, I'm getting something out of this each time I listen to it and I'm having a good time. I don't feel like that's this record. I feel like this record is akin to something like M does all the time, right? Like Eminem has these records where he's doing something like so technically crazy, but it's just kind of like, yeah, that was cool. Next. I don't really, care to listen to it again. So it's like, even when this was the first song released and I watched the video, and I think I listened to it one more time again after that, and I didn't bother even listening to it again until the album came out. And I'm at that point, like I think I've listened to the album about 5 or 6 times. I don't really care to hear the song again. It's just like he's telling his life story backwards. Like, yeah, that's cool. Like I said, it's super lyrically impressive, but it's just something about it. It just like, it's not something that you're just gonna listen to over and over and over again. Like every artist has something like that. That's like a super lyrical miracle where it's just like, yeah, I don't need to hear that every single time. I went through the Villas already. O-Dog featuring P.D. Pablo. I love the fact that he put P.D. Pablo on this record. That's really dope. I was there when everybody was taking their shirts off and spinning them like a helicopter. And yeah, it's dope. Beat is dope. J. Cole's, he killed that one. Life Sentence, paying ode to DMX and How's It Going Down and his wife. And I think that's a dope concept and a dope way of like explaining marriage, like doing life with somebody. Like took kind of like a negative term like we do in hip hop and just turning it into something positive. And like I said, he kind of got here throughout the album, you know what I mean? Like you go back and you listen to the joints on the first album, and this like with Legacy and the joint after that, this is what he was leading up to. This is what he was working towards. I think the execution on is dope. The beat is dope. The way J. Cole chose to perform the hook, I like the tone in it. It was just a great flip. Love it. So Only You and Man Up Above. These two records, like, I'm not really hugely like a fan of. They're not overly horrible records. And that was the thing with this project, see, because it's like, to me, J. Cole's worst album is For Your Eyes Only. Like, I can't listen to the majority of them records, like, at all. Like, I tried to go through and listen to it again before I did this, and I'm just like, yeah, I just can't rock with this album, like, at all. These songs aren't that bad, but I just don't feel the need to listen to them. Like, J. Cole has so many other records that you can get something similar to this but better. These two are definitely skips for me, and that was kind of like one of the things, one of the themes for this second album to me. So I love her again. This was ode to Common. He did I Used to Love Her back in the day, and he was rapping about hip hop. And this has been done and remixed in multiple different ways, where people kind of like talk directly to hip hop. And some of the highlights, some of the ones that come to mind that are overly dope to me is like Nas and Scarface. That was on the DJ Khaled joint. I can't even remember what it's called. It's like, I fucked hip hop. And if I cried 2 tears for her, that would be the best that I can give to her. Like, the way they did that record, absolutely crazy. I mean, Nas did it as a like joke on his worst album. That's not quotations, that is his worst album. Street's Disciple, he has a song where he's rapping about Khalees. I don't remember the names of the songs on that album, but it's the song where he's like, say hello to the man, goodbye to the gigolo. But he's rapping like he's rapping about hip hop, but for real, he's like, nah, I'm talking to Khalees for real, for real. That was a dope version. So there's just so many other rappers that have done records where they're talking to hip hop. J. Cole's felt like a continuation. I know somebody else did a similar continuation, but I just can't remember who it was. I mean, Kendrick kind of just did it on GNX with Gloria. Interesting enough. I don't feel like this one is bad, because the journey he's talking about, I know that journey. I recall like when music went to the South, like I wasn't a huge fan of all the crunk stuff outside of clubbing. But eventually everybody came to accept it, because it always felt like when you were mad about this, something worse would come afterward. My gripe would more so be about it losing more of the lyricism, even though we did get some rappers that would do some of this music that could rap. And then, you know, luckily we got the T.I.s, we got the Ludas, we got the Sahas, like people that actually could spit, that were still kind of like dabbling in and collaborating with the Little Johns, and, you know, the producers that were like the Polo the Dons, that were taking huge advantage of the snap and crunk era and stuff like that. It's not bad, but it's not great. I'll just leave it at that. Common's is just really superior. Oh, Kanye did it too with the joint I'm Coming Home Again with Chris Martin on Graduation, second to last song on the project. So What If? I have a huge issue with this record. It's not because I'm not a fan of it, because I'm not a fan of the record. I understand, like J. Cole, you know, super peaceful, don't want any issues with nobody. He apologized his way out of the beef with Dot and Drake, which is perfectly fine. I have no issue with that. I don't like the reframing of the Tupac and Biggie beef, because like this song insinuates that Tupac died because of like the issue, because he's like, yo, just imagine if that shit never popped up, we still popped off, we still have both of them niggas. That is not why Tupac died. You could completely erase any of the Biggie stuff and Tupac still potentially would have died, because he got in a fight with somebody at a club and then ended up being shot by affiliates of that said person. So it's just like, And then Biggie died. Like, we can't really blame Biggie's death on what happened to Tupac. Now, would it be great if they both were alive? Yes. I remember when both of them died. I remember how crushed we were. Like, we literally thought hip hop is done. There's nobody. There's no, mind you, Nas was already out. You know what I mean? LL Cool J was still doing his thing. I know he was like for the ladies at the time, but he was creeping back to like the craziness with Mr. Smith, where he was like getting back on the lyrical stuff. Jay-Z was there, like we knew about him. Big L was bubbling. It's like, in hindsight, it was stupid to think that hip hop was just gonna die, but it did feel weird for a little bit because Puff Daddy just kind of like took it with all of the shiny suits and the mace, and Cam even went commercial. But you know, X came, M came, and it's like when X came, Eminem came, and then like Cannabis came and went, and then it's like we slowly started getting the MCs like back. You know, Redman started making noise, Def Jam started, Onyx was like loud and doing a thing. It was a rough part where it just felt like everything was over. But I don't like the reimagining of what happened in that aspect, because we can't have revisionist history. They did not die because of each other. Like, that's not what happened. And also, as far as concept records go for this, Game did it better. Game has a song called Never Can Say Goodbye, featuring Latoya Williams. I think that's Latoya Williams from SWV, on his LAX album. If you never heard it, you should go check it out. He raps from Biggie's perspective, Tupac's perspective, and Eazy-E's perspective on their last day living. The beat is dope, and it's also dope that he has the clips at the beginning of the like reporting of all their deaths. The way that record is done is just so much better, and that was like a master class on how to do it, and it's not revisionist history. For the youngins, they did not die because of each other. If the Hit 'Em Up never came out, there's still a high chance that Tupac would still be dead and Biggie might be dead afterwards. Let's not kid ourselves on that based on what happened in totality. Quick Stop is dope. It's got a lot of passion in it. Cole gets really loud. I wish I could see a video of that being recorded, because I'm really curious how the engineer captured that performance without peaking. But I love J. Cole's energy on that. And The Whole World Is Like the Ville is that is a great record to end the album with. It felt like it wrapped up everything. Like, this is kind of like a cheat code, right? Like Bone has one on a Thug World Order where they got the Cleveland record. Like, there is one take that I heard that I felt like made a lot of sense. Obviously, J. Cole was going to call this album The Fall Off because he's been talking about this forever, and this is what he wanted to call the album. Somebody actually said that the album should have been called Fayetteville, and I said yes. That's probably the best take that I've heard, because this album is definitely regional. Is probably more respected by the people there than anywhere else, because they know the blocks, they know the streets, they know everything he's talking about. I get that sometimes when I listen to the clips. I grew up around where they grew up for at least about 10 years of my life. So it's like when they talk about stuff, it's like I know where they're talking about. So I get that aspect. But yeah, that was a great record to end the album. And the Ocean Breeze bonus track is really good. I haven't really taken the time to like try to figure out where I want to rank J. Cole's discographies or whatnot, but I will say, like, the good thing is each time I've listened to this project, I've walked away liking songs even more. I feel like if the album doesn't immediately catch you, it's okay to not necessarily like to just walk away and just not stamp it as a classic. It's okay just to just say like, yo, you know what, I think it was a good project, or you know, I need to give it some more listens. I don't feel like we need to go and start stamping it. Like, as of right now, for me, it's definitely better than For Your Eyes Only. I might have it above KOD. What would have made the album better for me as a fan of J. Cole is more so the lyrical miracle stuff that he was doing on some of the records on Might Delete Later, like on Crocodile Tears, like on the Huntin' Wabbits joint, like on Pie with Daylight and Ab-Soul. That type of Cole would have probably like made my day a little bit more than this. But the album serves its purpose. He did the album that he wanted to do. And, you know, I think it's cool. I don't have any hate towards it. I'm curious to know what some of you guys think. What are your thoughts on the project? Do you feel like people are stamping it too early? Yeah. And yeah, put down your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know how you guys feel about it. And I want to talk about some other things as well. So, peace.